What's up, y'all? I decided to do this because I guess it's a combination of two things. Really interacting with two people. I had that last video, which was a response to Morpheus Unplugged. Interesting name. And he responded to that. And I was going to do a response video that really was sort of okay, we'll agree to disagree type thing, because I didn't want to go back and forth too much. And and that was going to be pretty easy to do, because his response, even though he starts off by saying I told a bunch of lies and stuff, we really don't disagree much. Like it's funny. He frames things in a way that is just, to me, taking an opposing position, but it's his position. So, but the thing is, all right, he takes his position, and I say it's opposing, but what's in his position is a lot of agreement, to the point where I was pretty much, like I said, I was going to do a response, and it was going to have a tone that's mostly olive branch, okay, and what few things we do disagree on, we'll just agree to disagree, whatever. Now, that was off of his response. Like I said, the beginning was something completely different than the meat of it, because the beginning, like I said, he starts off by saying that I'm dishonest, and I'm trolling, or I might be trolling. But then, like I said, when he gets to the rationale, it's not really that much of a disagreement. But then he responded to a video from Yvette Carnell, and that response, I think, was kind of weak for a lot of reasons. So I was really mostly going to respond to his response to her more so than me, because his response to me, I can go into some of those things, but a lot of it is just not really knowing my position, or thinking that because we disagree that it's something that's at all, like he's making a point with me. Like, at one point he said that the whole reason ADOS had to create itself, why they had to create ADOS, was because of white supremacy, and he sticks that out like it's a profound point. But I'm like, well, I like that about them. You know what I mean? If they're creating things to deal with white supremacy, and that's the best way to do it, is empowerment, a reparations agenda, that's, yeah. Like, if you're making a point, you think I'm going to disagree with that? I'll clap, But his response to Yvette was limited, because I don't think Yvette really, and this is something I put in his comments, and I could just read it, but I'm going to go off dome. I made the point that, and this is over over voting down Democrat, and I made the point that there's, why does having a whole bunch of reasons has to be double talk? Like, Asari Motep once said, I don't know if he said this originally or if he got it from someone. I think he got it from someone. But he mentioned that in relation to black people, you've got to be powerful. Well, I'm saying it wrong. Be gentle with each other so you can be powerful together. And I hold that, especially when it's somebody that I'm generally agreeing with, is I try to give them the benefit of the doubt. I don't feel like ADOS is given the benefit of the doubt, which I think is crazy. Because if we say we're trying, we're just calling it vote down Democrat, but there's more reasons to it, why are you coming back with, give us one hard reason, or we don't like your slogan? I'm like, well, we're trying to take over the Democratic Party. We don't really see great designs in creating a third party. That, we already have third parties that favor reparations. The Socialist Party favors reparations. The Green Party favors reparations. You can vote Jill Stein and Amadou, what's his name? I forget her running mate. It doesn't, you have to take over the Democratic Party and probably a portion of the Republican Party to get reparations. I don't see any other way, um, other than kind of relying on fate if you step away. And there's something to that. I'm not even going to get too deep. Maybe in another video I might talk about their strategy, but to put it simple, their strategy is to get reparations is to remove yourself from the system in a way that postures intimidatingly. I don't think it's a bad strategy. I would just rather try to force it. I would rather go in and try to do the thing myself than to take that and then try to play a psychological mind game. And I don't see how the hell you're going to do it when you got black people that are going to vote for Bernie. And you have a president that's that into poverty, and a lot of the voting crowd is older. They're still into that whole, he used to march with Martin Luther King and all that. And Bernie beats Trump in pretty much every poll. And that's not to say Bernie would win. Right now, Biden is winning. And if Biden wins, I think he's the one person who would I won't say he gets spanked by Trump, but I don't see Biden winning. I mean, Biden is just as much of a bigot as Trump from what I've seen. Like, if you really look at some of the things he's done, and look at him talk about reparations. When he talks about reparations, I did a video on that. He sounds like any old open racist Republican. So, unless he gets like Antonio Moore as his running mate, I mean, they're not going to do that. They're going to play stupid. I could picture him getting Kamala, and Moore said, she doesn't really bring anything as far as votes. They already have California, so that's not going to happen. So, when I say stuff like that, that Bernie beats Trump, or that black people are going to vote for Bernie, and I'll say other good things about Bernie when I was responding to Morpheus, and I have things on my timeline. I'm a liberal. If it was not for the fact that I'm black first and I have a black agenda, and I've been calling for this for a while, I would say run to go out and vote for Bernie. Instead, what I say is oppose him until he comes real with reparations, just like anybody else. If there's somebody who hasn't really been questioned on it, or if they have been questioned and their answer was okay, I think you go out and vote for them. If it's okay or better because they haven't been questioned, or you get people on the record, you contact people. You contact people and you make your choices. And chances are your choice is going to be, hey, that wasn't good enough, or it'll be a Democrat that earns your vote. And I would say the ratio is probably going to be, if you're hard like me, put like this: I would vote for all the presidential candidates. Out of all of them, to me, even Gabbard hasn't done enough, and she's my favorite of the candidates. So it's basically, I'd vote for Marianne Williamson, which is at this point a protest vote, and I would vote for Grable, and Grable, had he ran, I would vote for him in the primaries. Grable and Williamson. So right now we're, that's where it's at. So, and I would say, if you aren't getting enough from the Democrats, vote for the Green, because they have a pro-reparations, but again, this is going to be protest votes until you crack into the system, until you have enough people who are loyal to you, you've made your deals, and you're moving that way. And then you get in that position, and I think reparations can happen. I've always thought that it could happen politically. It would just take, you'd have, I don't know how, no other way to say it is that you'd have to force it. You would have to be on every committee making the best argument, better argument than anybody would put up with. And one thing I've noticed is it's a winning argument, man. It's so hard to lose a reparations argument if you have any understanding of history, man. It's a good argument. It's a winning argument, and you'd have to make it on different committees, from whatever local junk you have to the DNC. And and I won't say again. Let me go back. I won't say I've always believed it. I just once I started looking at things analytically, I before I did Black Power's Meta, but going up to that, I said, like of all the ways to become powerful, reparations is a great option. We should go that route. So what I'm going to do is play some clips of Black Power's Meta. Before I bring that up, I want to say one thing, and this is something that you'll have to look up. I'm not going to put any clips of this or any pictures of this, but if you Google Dream Democrat and reparations, you might have to put Dream Democrat in quotes because there you might see stuff that's more recent, but you want to find something that I believe it was early 2008. It was after the Black Power's Meta, which why I didn't put it in there, but what it shows is that the top Democratic donors have reparations on a short agenda list. But here's the problem. I forgot the organization that Soros donates to. These groups, what will happen is there's already established gatekeepers and middlemen who will funnel all of this political money to get this on the agenda for reparations. They will turn that into a 501c3 hustle. I might have said that before, but I want you, because I've made this point before, and people say, that we're too broke to buy politicians. And I had someone, I wish I could really give them, put their name up, who mentioned that in comments in my last video. And as a whole, it's hard to really argue with that, except for, like I said, there's money out there. These are the top Democratic donors putting reparations on a short agenda list with like free health care and like immigration reform, which would be really immigrant friendly. So, but the thing, again, like there's a big middleman gatekeeper between that money and actual real reparations, which would be in the, I don't know, like it, to me, you're not talking until you've rounded $3.5 trillion. Other than that, I don't really, to me, you're not talking. So other people are aiming for bigger. I'm like, well, bigger requires more control. I mean, we're going to have to really crack into the Democratic Party. You can, like I said, you can have your third party votes or whatever, but understand, and these are protest votes. And maybe if you get enough of them, this is why I say it's good to protest vote. If you can get enough protest votes, and whenever all of a sudden you're making a third party candidate viable for, if not this election, they'll be viable with the next, because you're already coming out and having a good turnout. So I always tell people vote, because you aren't losing. And one of the points, I don't respond to each thing point by point, but I mean at one point, and this is where I say that Morpheus does not give the benefit of the doubt, and a lot of times he's not the only one, but he'd make the point that you're telling black people that they don't have the gas money to go to 2 conferences. Well, I thought that was kind of petty on Tone's part, but I think what he meant was some people would actually try to drive, because if one's in Atlanta and the other one's in Kentucky, and you're somewhere in the South, you might try to make them. I'm in the Northwest. I ain't trying to make either one of them. I might have bought tickets for somebody that I know over there or something like that, represent for me or whatever. But if I were to go, I'd go in a costume, because I like being anonymous anyhow. So I'd go like dressed up as 42 Tribes of Superhero. But what I'm saying is that's a big difference, making a little cross-state drive than driving to vote, because in theory, driving to vote, we're angling for reparations now, plus there's all sorts of things that affect your money on the ballot. So that was one thing. I don't want to respond to the whole thing, but those were the kind of things that he would say, and I'm like, first of all, dude, like that's a big difference. We're talking about, state travel, that type of thing, because if somebody's in like Alabama and they want to go to both conferences, it's doable. It's just gonna cost you a little bit of gas money. Or where with me, I ain't trying to drive all the way across the goddamn country, drive to Kentucky from Oregon, no, from NoCal, Washington. I'm mostly in Washington lately, but anyhow, what I wanted to show though, and this is getting kind of long, is who I am first. Because what I can tell is a lot of people just don't know me. They want to jump to conclusions like Longal Standard, who I'm generally cool with, is y'all get to listening to these. I haven't heard FBA do it, but Jason Black and Tariq will get into these ridiculous conspiracies, and y'all get to making these conspiracies or thinking that their shit is real, and I'm being accused of being a burn what do you call it, a Bernie bro, some nonsense like that. Now I want to show y'all where I was on Black Power's meta, because I'm just going to show some highlights, because I did some things in Black Power's meta where I had to look back and surprise myself, because I know I'm like, are y'all not really listening to me? Because I would think if you were going to subscribe to my channel, or if you were going to listen to one of my videos, I would say listen to Black Power's meta, and you'll know where I was politically, and you know how ahead of the curve I was. So I'm just going to play these clips, and what I would say is watch them, because what you'll hear me say is I make the same case for voting that ADOS is making right now. And this is in early 2018. This is before the ADOS hashtag. I make the same case. Damn, I just got some bad news in the text. Well, forget it. It's finding that my baby mama's friend's son was murdered last year. So that's sad. He was only 19. So, clutch your kids. But anyhow, in this video, and in the whole video is 2 hours, I'm just going to put, let's see, 13. This is less than 30 minutes. And it'll show you that not only did I nominate Yvette Carnell to lead the reparations movement, the reparations portion of FTRM, I have not changed. I was telling people to vote, and if you don't find anyone to vote for, if they aren't respecting your agenda, I was telling people to go first get an agenda. I was calling for an agenda. I was saying that voting is worthless without an agenda. But once you get an agenda, you want to vote. You want to, even if you don't have one, you want to get in the habit of it. You want to vote for referendums and initiatives. And you want to get people on the record. I was not caping for the Democrats, but I said the fact that you vote 88% Democrat is good, because you don't want to split your vote 50-50. It makes it worthless. You want to be 100% either way, and it goes to whoever's supporting your agenda the most. And that's where I was back then. That's where ADOS is now. We haven't changed. The conspiracy theorists have been all over the place, but we haven't changed. The person that nominated Yvette to lead the reparations movement before the ADOS hashtag was invented has not changed. So let's let it play. Let me get to those things. FTR. Now, if you want a political agenda that'll get you some power so you can do some things that you couldn't do, this is what you need to focus on. You got to get your family strong, and the family's complex. I'm not even going to talk about that much about the family, because most people realize that you got to have a strong. I'll just read it. He said one culture was ancient Egypt, the other was China before the coming of maritime Europeans. It's my feeling that if we Caucasoids are to survive in the world along with us, we had better begin emulating these similar civilizations to some degree. I put emulating a key aspect of ancient Egyptian culture very high in the meta. The meta doesn't have too many tactics. You don't want to have a whole bunch of tactics. Because the Hebrew Israelite, they always got to put some extra Abrahamic stuff on it. And really, it's not necessary. I don't care who the politician is. It could be Bernie. It could be, Claude Anderson. I'd be okay with him. But it would probably be okay with Todd S. Coates. But Bernie's a good example. Hillary's a good example. Did y'all see this? But I was just going to say, it don't matter. As long as they support your agenda, they get your vote. If Trump said, FTRM is a good idea, reelect me, I'll vote for him. But if y'all saw this is an example of not having an agenda. They went to Hillary Clinton without an agenda, these reps from Black Lives Matter. And man, Mr. Research had to talk about them. I did too. But the thing is, I won't say I forgive him because that's inexcusable. You talking to who should be the next president, who everybody thinks will be the next president, and all you want is for her to acknowledge that she said that she called you a predator and said you had to be brought to heels. It was disgusting. And people say it's staged. Man, that wasn't staged. Because if they could act this good, they were legitimately incompetent. This is my motto. Smite with the Democratic Party. If you can shift the vote like this, come on. 96%, he ain't promised nothing. You just got to let him get it. I would rather have the guy that's known for smashing underage girls than the illusion. Because did he say anything? But here's the thing. I like this. I like that you can flip elections. Don't stop voting binary Democrat. Hell, I'd rather this be 100 because that's the only poor man's power and disorganized power you have. But that power doesn't matter without an agenda that you go to. Otherwise, you go to him and that binary 100 vote can just be stay at home and not vote. But better than that, this is important. If you don't have candidates that are on your agenda, study the initiatives. The initiatives, the only reason why I even voted in the last election, because I knew the candidates weren't really doing nothing. The initiatives have to do with all of this stuff. And this is key because a lot of times you'll hear from Republicans and they're not pro-Black, they're pro-Black powerlessness. And they know a binary vote gives you power. So they're like, well, vote Republican too. Split your vote 50-50 for two people who aren't doing anything. Then you don't have any leverage. You got a bunch of ideologues arguing back and forth. I like this. I like that 90%. That's good. You just have to have an agenda that goes to them and say, hey, are you on family, reparations, temple system? Are you going to address the way the media, let me go back one. I didn't even talk about what this is from. This is Breitbart. Hillary wasn't prepared to embrace slavery reparations. That's them making it up because they're on that Republican stuff where they are pro-Black powerlessness. And then they'll talk about the Democratic Party messed up the Black family. Well, that ain't a lie. That's the truth, but it's a partial truth. There's Shafley, I don't know how to say her name, lady's deceased. She was a typical Republican, Phyllis Shafley. It might be Shafly, but she was a typical Republican except for...
Which is economics. If you build the first floor, is economic. Build your businesses and your industries, control business and industry, and put that pools in your money and hold that money.
I want to back that up and say the best way to build economics is to take what you already have built, all them religious institutions and 501c3s, and produce businesses out of them.
And practice group economics with it. Arab and Asian money bounces 12 to 13 times what it leaves. Jewish money bounces 18 times. Black folk got to learn how to practice group economics. Black Americans spend every penny they get outside their own community. Then you take the money and the wealth that you get from that first floor and go to the second floor. The second floor is politics. You then take that money on the first floor and you control your politics. Black folk must quit allowing people to tell them to go out and vote. Vote for what? Nobody's going to do anything for black folk in politics. Politics is controlled by money, major corporations who got the money. That's what controls politics. If you have no money, you have no say-so, you have no benefits coming. So you take your money and you control, and you take your money from the first floor, you buy every politician on the second floor. And any politician you can't buy, you rent or lease them.
This is how to get reparations right here.
To get what you need. Then once you get the second floor under control with your politician, with your money, then you go to the third floor. The third floor then is the police department and the court system. You take your money from the first floor and your politics on the second floor, and you control the court system and the police departments. Then the fourth floor, that is media. Floor that is media. You then take the money that you generate off the first floor from business and industries, and you go after radio stations, TV stations, newspapers, and cable systems, so that you can now inform and communicate with your own people. Right now, black folk own and control less than 35 thousandths of 1% of the media in the United States. Out of 12,000 radio stations, black folk own about 75, 80. That's all. You own no cable systems. You don't have a daily newspaper. You have nothing of importance. You got about one black TV station. And so you can't communicate with your people, you can't inform your people, you can't do anything. You can have Rush Limbaugh and all the rest of the guys talking about racism all day long and bad-mouthing you, and O'Reilly's. They can call black folk all kind of names all day long. What are you gonna do? You can't respond. You can't communicate with your own people because you don't have an economic base.
Another excuse I hear, this is something that only applies, a lot of this stuff only applies to black people because black people are the only people that never got reparations. Is they'll say, I didn't own slaves and you weren't a slave and all that, like the human rights violation stopped at slavery. It'd be a different conversation if the human rights violation stopped at slavery, because basically there would have already been reparations if they stopped at slavery. Not doing anything afterwards is an additional human rights violation. It's completely different than how you treated other people, except for maybe Native Americans who had to wait generations after generations. But the Native Americans today, they didn't have their land stolen personally. They're descendants of that shit. And most of the people, and this is why I don't believe in blaming white people, because you don't blame me because I didn't do this. I didn't take their land. I didn't kill all these skinny ass white people. I didn't starve them. And you know what? I need to mention this. These are white people. Care what Jared Taylor say. Genetically, they are closer to Europeans than Ashkenazi Jews and European Jews that were getting killed. They're the closer to Europeans than any other European ethnicity. If you're going to say they're not white, then you got to say Irish ain't white, like you did before. Now, I didn't do this, but my tax dollars go to this. Because that's like they don't want to accept the tribulations of the nation, but they'll accept the benefits if it's going to them. We can't have that type of contradiction. You know, I didn't mess up Europe. I didn't do all this, the unemployment. I didn't do this. I didn't waste $4 trillion on a money laundering scheme in Iraq. Didn't do it. Didn't bomb Japan. I didn't intern Japanese. Didn't do it. I didn't mess up capitalism and have to repair capitalism. Man, if you really look at it, animals get reparations before people classified as black. You got an easy case. You couldn't have an easier case if you wanted an easier case. You're just not making it. And I know somebody is going to pick up the torch. That who you run with. FTRM, give a damn about the other stuff. You need major move the needle initiatives and power moves that will work in conjunction with each other to give you an objective boost. Hey, if I was going to nominate somebody, it would be Yvette Carnell. Yvette Carnell was moving up in that meta score real quick to get racist votes. Because there ain't nothing to it, man. You show me how you could get a Cadillac off a county check, you're going to find this way more than you're going to find it. You show me how you can do this. You get a Cadillac. And that's the type of stuff that Reagan was able to say without people checking him. That, and all that is more of a case for reparations. You're going to have a president saying that on national TV, talking about welfare queens. He even put the KW in it, like the We Was Kangs. I mean, come on now. Really? That type of anti-black propaganda, and we just let it ride. We let it ride. That's why it keeps continuing. If you were steady fighting and saying, okay, this is exhibit whatever, and it's something recent that they're doing right now, and you're pointing to a whole conveyor belt of human rights violations, that might give them some pause. Because then it's like, well, we can't make the case that that black people aren't victims. It's neither victimizing them. Nothing takes somebody away from being a victim like justice. Material reparations, restitution and compensation agreements. What do we get? Symbolic reparations. Gestures, expression of courtesy, respect, remorse, and forgiveness. We're allowed to say in public, we forgive, the opportunity to forgive. You're not going to blame me, I'm not going to blame you. We'll just keep the same standard. And truthfully, a lot of them didn't do nothing. Whether they're alive today or they agree with the policy, some of them are like Max Kaiser, so I'm not going to blame white people. But I do believe that if you run the numbers and you're aware and you're not in denial, that's the thing. A lot of people, they'll say that and then they want to go in denial. And they'll say, I'm not a victim. I'm like, well, run the numbers, pick up a history book or two, and you will see consistently that while you're being sabotaged, other people are being subsidized. Play, because this is an example of how white conservatives will argue for reparations if they can sneak this liberals on it. And this is kind of funny. This is Ann Coulter going off on reparations.
You make kind of a provocative comment in your new book here, Mugged, and I think it's on page 151. You write that various groups, feminists, gay rights groups, and those who are defending immigrants have commandeered the black civil rights experience.
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
Yes, I'm glad you asked that because I think it's one of the most important points of the book. I mean, I think the way liberals have treated blacks like children and many of their policies have been harmful to blacks. At least they got the beneficiary group right. We do have to, I mean, we shouldn't. There is the legacy of slavery and Jim Crow laws. We don't owe the homeless. We don't owe feminists. We don't owe women who are desirous of having abortions, but that's, or gays who want to get married to one another. That's what civil rights has become for much of the left. They dropped the blacks after 5 minutes.
Immigrant rights are not civil rights?
No, I think civil rights are for blacks.
See,
She's wrong about that. Civil rights in theory is supposed to be for everybody. Everybody's supposed to be civil with everybody. That's just being a good neighbor. Reparations, however, that's for everybody but blacks. I just wanted to throw out that example and mention that colorism is not a political agenda. We spend way too much time talking about some colorism when, truth be told, beauty standards go out the window when you look like this and you're standing next to somebody that look like homegirl. Beauty standards are way out the window. So does it exist? Yeah, but beauty at this level and plainality at this level will cancel it out. And you're just gonna have to ride with that until you have enough power to promote the mediocre looking chicks who you can just say, well, she's got African features. She's mediocre looking, but she's got African features and we're running shit and that's what's going down. You may get to that point, but you're not gonna get to that point with colorism as a political agenda. Because that has to happen organically. You also have some millions to buy it. Really? Really, Root? I had to respond to that. The Root, but you know, here's the thing. I'm gonna have to get on these fake liberals. I can't even say they're real liberals. A lot of them, you know, them political ideologues, they basically, it's a get out of think free card. Conservatives do a whole bunch of stuff that ain't really conservative. Talking about how important Jesus is and you got Trump in the White House. And they'll just say, well, Hillary is a devil worshiper because we said so. It don't matter. And then, like I said, when I was on Q's channel, how many conservatives are really down with conservation? So what does conservatism even really mean? What are you trying to conserve? Every now and then, one of them will get off script and just say, man, or they'll slip and they'll say, we trying to conserve white supremacy. Can't you tell? I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. I was listening to Joy Reid. As critical as I can be on somebody who just pumps for Hillary Clinton, but I haven't heard Joy Reid ask Hillary Clinton one thing that she's going to do for people classified as black. No, I don't want to say that. And then she does it and I'm not seeing it. That makes me look bad. So I'm watching Joy Reid. Is she going to say anything? So she has Perlman, and she had this other guest. So I'm just going to play a little bit of it. I'm not going to really play it just to show you our other guest, this guy, John McWhorter.
You know, if you're a conservative Republican, if I were a liberal, that's why I always started, went to Wharton, was a good student, went there, did this, built the, you know, I have to give my credentials all the time because we're at a little disadvantage. But you look at the nuclear deal. We had our beautiful Marine standing there. Bing, 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 bing. We got him back. Bing, bing, bong, bong, bing, bing, bing. You know what that is, right? Bing, bing. I love it.
You don't know what that is. Remember in 2015 and 2016 when we used to be shocked, amazed even, by incoherent, meandering, almost incomprehensible speeches by then candidate Donald Trump?
And they're talking about how much he meanders. And who cares? Who cares, Joy? Shit, I'd much rather have Yvette Carnell. I'd rather have Yvette Carnell in your shoes in a hell of a minute. And she meanders. So give me Yvette Carnell over you. But I'm listening to her.
Well, it is now 2017. And with me now are two guests I hope will help me translate Donald Trump for our viewers. Actor, award-winning fabulous actor Ron Perlman, author of the memoir Easy Street, The Hard Way, and Columbia University linguistics professor and my personal favorite linguistics professor, John McWhorter, author of Words on the Move. Okay, this is like a dream panel for me because you know, maybe it is.
And she introduces Ron Perlman and John McWhorter. Now, I got to say, my great-grandfather was white, so maybe I'm being discriminatory against black people. But I started getting salty. I'm like, she just introduced a straight-up Hucklebuck. I know he's a Hucklebuck. I know it. I know there's something up with this dude. Like, the extra feminine dudes, and this is like, you know, kind of a conflict that I don't really get into too often, okay? And he wrote for Black Enterprise. I don't really get into because I think we make a mountain out of a molehill. It's just, you can start to see patterns. You get that feminine dude, a lot of times he's going along to get along. That's the definition of a Hucklebuck. How does he get on MSNBC? And I'm saying to myself, I bet this guy is against reparations. So I do some homework on McWhorter. And yes, he's against reparations. Now, in another article, he says he's like, I'm a straight up liberal Democrat. You know, like, bro, you supposed to be a liberal and you against reparations. They ain't, no. See, this is a pretty young dude. Trump is president. So this is 2001. It was in Black Enterprise. And, you know, whenever a black man writes against reparations, you're going to have newspapers picking it up. See, a black man said it, reparations are bad. They're in code. This is what it takes to get elevated in America. To MSNBC. That's why I'm the hell with MSNBC. I was disgusted that Joy Reid would have somebody that on more than one occasion speaks against reparations. But I said, you know what? I bet he's part of the Root clique. So I looked up the Root and John McWhorter, and yeah, he writes for the Root. This was a while ago, and I saw this, and I'm like, I'm gonna do a video on this. And the reason why I'm doing it here is because I want to show you that these ideologues are not about Black power first. They're not about Black people. To put it out there, and this is the long-term goal: is you want to take all of this exploitation. You know, this is the thing people talk about. We're already giving reparations to Africa because they'll look at this overseas aid. You know, it'll be a decent chunk, but they're not looking at all this coming out, because if you have the resources but you don't have the corporations, you can mine all you want, but you don't have a diamond company. The key is to make these renewable, keep the wealth in the motherland. And this is what I mean. You have all of these temples to run a global temple system. And this is the main thing that you got to do. Because one thing in that debate,
key to survival in my savior, then you know I can't say that. I can't bring that up. In fact, I gave a speech the other day with there were a group of bankers there, and some of them were white, and I started talking about the history of Black economic oppression, and I said, look, here's what happened. Here's the reparations conversation. There is no debate on whether or not reparations are deserved. There's only a debate on whether or not people are going to be willing to pay them. But you know, I said these things, and I said it politely. I said it, you know, with full facts to support everything I said. And a bunch of white men literally got up and walked out of the damn room. And I said, get your ass out of here. I don't give a shit if you stay or not.
Stop worrying about what people think. Don't worry about white guilt. I think that what I would aim for, and this is just me, I think you can get this past Congress is $3 trillion, because it won't even show up on the major budget. Like on a major spreadsheet, we spend more money. Well, I won't say more, but we spend a lot of money, in the hundreds of millions, off panaceas and sabotage, when you'd be better off just treating Black people like anybody else and just subsidizing neighborhood advancement. And maybe go by the amount of, since they created the whole Black race, go by the amount of sub-Saharan African, that creation, and that out of, let's say, I'd aim for 3, because running the numbers, 3 over 30 years, go by the amount of sub-Saharan African, and whatever's left over you can put in the temple system. Get a city or 2 in every state, maybe sovereign laws within a state to help you make some of those family court law changes. And I'm cool. America's forgiven from my perspective. Other people may disagree. And of course, I'm not going to just ignore all of what happens, but clean slate. I won't feel like a victim, that's for sure. I won't be able to objectively look at things and be like, God damn, I really am a victim, whether I like it or not, whether I want to be in denial or not. It is what it is. I won't be able to do that. That would happen overnight if reparations were paid. We already got the Dominican Republic, but it's Hucklebuck Central. Dominican Republic and Haiti should be one Black jump off point, and just go there and chill. That should be it. That should be a unified link. But they all messed up. You got Black people who are just as racist as any white folks up in the Dominican Republic. And oh man, and Sammy Sosa, he represents them too well. That's just, is he even from the, I think he is from the Dominican Republic. If not, he's from, oh my goodness. Have you seen Sammy Sosa lately? He took some of them the melanin blocking inhibitors, He literally made himself an albino. 2 trill, 3 trill. And it's better government. You know, the one thing that Jared Taylor said that I think he believes, he might not believe it's true, but he probably does just want to leave Black people on. Just leave them alone, sink or swim. Well, you can't have a whole bunch of human rights violations and then drop back and say sink or swim. Nah. But okay, 3 trillion and then leave Black people alone. Okay. I think it's naive because it's just not happening. There's so many examples of sabotage. And even to make that case, I'd have to be more literate into it. Like Yvette Carnell can make that case tomorrow. The prison industrial complex is a waste of money. Over the course of time, $3 trillion at least be more efficient than what we do right now. It would be more efficient than redlining. It would be more efficient than having abortion clinics in the black neighborhoods heavy like that. 3 trillion over 30 years. I don't know how many racks that is ahead, but you don't need these abortion clinics. You know, people can afford to take care of their kids. But again, like I said, you make reparations hot when you help yourself. Now, that doesn't mean you take your foot off the gas. I hear that narrative too much. Forget about reparations. Let's do for ourselves first. The problem with that is it never will happen, because what's been done to African American people wasn't done by a bunch of cells. It was done by the force of law, by government. So to undo that to where an individual rigger has any movement of the needle, you need force of law. But to have that force of law, to have reparations as law, you have to have votes. Votes are easier to get when you're actively doing things for yourself. That's why I included family, because that's popular with conservatives, religious institution, religious freedom, popular with conservatives, and then reparations, the one thing that isn't popular with conservatives. Here's how you push it over the edge. You say, while we're getting this $3 trillion, no welfare, no food stamps, sink or swim. And that's why I said it's easy. You just have to play the political game. Reparations is easy. Do not leave the money on the table. Your seeds need it too bad. And you can't keep having these worthless churches. So I don't know what else to tell you. I'll do some more on the family later, but for now, this is Black Power's Meta, and I'm out. 42.